Good evening. Welcome to Poets Corner here at Scarritt, Bennett, Nashville, Tennessee. Those of you who are joining us via the internet. And I'm Donna Patterson. I'm the Anamkara resident and chaplain here at Scarritt, and am delighted to welcome back Bill Brown. Bill is the author of 12 poetry collections and a writing textbook entitled Important Words, in which he collaborated with Malcolm Glass. In 1999, Bill wrote and co-produced an instructional television program called Student-Centered Learning for National Public Television. He directed the writing program at Hume Fogg for 19 years. And his philosophy is that those who write live more examined lives, fostered a love of words in generations of students. He retired from Hume Fogg and was a part-time lecturer at Peabody in Vanderbilt. And in 1995, the National Foundation for Advancement of the Arts named him Distinguished Teacher in the Arts. He's been a scholar in poetry at the Bread Loaf Writers Conference, a fellow at the Virginia Center for the Creative Arts, and a two-time recipient of individual artist fellowships in poetry with the Tennessee Arts Commission. In 2011, the Tennessee's Writers Alliance awarded Brown Writer of the Year. He continues to do consultant work and lead writing workshops. He and his wife, Suzanne, live in the hills of Robertson County with one cat, Mr. Dodo. We welcome Bill Brown.
Thank you so much. I'm going to be reading poems from my two last books, Carnes and New and Selected, from Three Taos Press in New Mexico and Denver. And then my newest is The Headless Angel from Iris Press in East Tennessee. I'm going to be reading through these so I don't have to keep turning pages and moving back and forth. On a park bench in heaven. On a park bench in heaven, my grandparents sit staring through all that holiness which glimmers, they think, like freezing rain on winter trees. They were pleased to be here at first, flattered to be taken despite all their Sunday plowing. The pearly gates are just fine, my grandmother says, but she would trade the lot for a tin of snuff. My grandfather would sell his soul for a pocket watch. He's tired of asking every saint that flies by what time it is. All this gold and silver remind them of the dining room at the Holiday Inn. What they really miss is the smell of honeysuckle or the way woodland violet circles star trillium like a wedding quilt in spring. We've been here 20 years, my grandfather says, and to date no funerals, no sick friends, no floods, no droughts, and no nips of sour mash at the general store on Saturday afternoons. And harp music, day and night. Not one angle flat picks or sings a whiskey tenor. In the pickup glove compartment of his heart, he wonders if hell wasn't more like Tennessee. Night Song. I wrote this after I was in a cabin in the mountains during a terrible storm, alone by myself, no electricity. All night, trees rain leaves against the roof. Hickory, maple, and oak, palmed and scraped, wood and tin, comb the air like ghost hands freed from the arms of men who grieved with hands. And in the ill logic of half sleep, the side of my brain which understands my heart heard the song of the leaves as they tossed across the night. I have lived among these trees for years, and we have felt the sky's weight heavy on our seed. We are passengers on the gracious rock which circles a dying star. And some nights I take this on faith, that the same glue which holds my life in balance allows the earth to fly the moon like a kite and scatters these leaves through this night homeward. The names of creeks. Today, the rounds of hay sit quietly in their fields. A light frost melts from their tops, steams the air like loaves of fresh bread on someone's porch. The hills, like the heads of children sleeping, are scruffed with hardwoods. They tangle and huckleberry like my morning heart, not easy to sort through, pathless and mum. Accept whatever comes, a great poet said. I want to invert that thought, come to whatever accepts. But the words don't make the right sense exactly. Today, sense nestles in the names of creeks, Dry Fork, crippled, troublesome, New Hope. This morning, a quote from William Stafford, one of my favorite human beings. Every glance at the world around you will be a sort of salvation. Rain, night breeze, my home's green whirl, oak, hickory, maple, gum, umbrella, the long porch and its herb pots, mint, basil, rosemary, lemon, sage. I place a gala apple on the table to honor Eve and the speckled king snake climbing the rose of Sharon. How fortunate ancient symbols at peace in my garden. No damning, no killing of paschal lambs, no neighbor turned into salt before her daughters. Not today. This May morning, all are welcome, especially Jehovah's Witnesses canvassing our county road with smiling pamphlets in which heaven resembles a summer picnic after church, except there are no gravestones to attach plastic flowers. Mist rises from Sulphur Creek like incense, and I think how Mother loved the scent of plowed fields after rain, how one can almost hear new seeds dreaming the verb to be. Today I am a child learning to sing, a newt growing a new foot, the sound of rain dripping through leaves. Sometimes troubled times teach us more and put us closer to the people that we love than the happy times, the easy times. This is called In Praise of Drought. Brown corn crinkles the color of work spots on my father's hands. Wrens circle the porch for seed, drink from metal pot I leave in the yard like my mother did. Drought time, a place in her life she couldn't leave in farm country, a place that scalds the soul, brings memories of grandparents and cousins in the fields casting fists of dust, an omen sweet Jesus won't fix, 6 months of labor flushed down the dung hole. Mother woke in the night remembering porch whispers, a drought child then, hearing language of failed crops, whir of cicadas in late July, not words so much as voice tones and silence between talk. Why ache helps children know family better. How chosen words, looks away, reveal selves that don't populate breakfast or Sunday dinners. Praise be to moments true as dust and scorched earth, heartbreak, powdered milk, Christmas singing, and a stingy Santa Claus. Father and mother now dust, their spirits heavenward in their faith. Rain in late summer brings hope back, brings men talking trash beside pickups at the grocery store. Their hearts tied to soil surrounding barns, skies ever hopeful, ever endless. What souls learn from hard times, smiles born in love, whispers in loss. Parents' dreams of drought tight against me, taught silence, mystery, who we really are, who we must be. This is an Asian form of a poem that repeats itself over and over. It's called The Light That Follows Rivers, and it's for my father who died in my arms when I was 16. Like the light that follows rivers in the night, A figure dreams hover ghost-like in my dreams. My father, my stranger, sometimes the same, his blue eyes stain his thoughts to read. His gruff hands hover luminous in my dreams. Above my childhood slumber they touch my head. His blue eyes like his hands I wish to read, yet I am older than my father when he died. Above my childhood slumber they touch my head. His eyes, his hands, his storied voice, all lullabies. Though I am older than my father when he died, as men we travel alone, I know that now. His eyes, his hands, his storied voice, his lullabies. My father, my stranger, always the same. As men we travel lonely, I know that now, like the light that follows rivers in my dreams. Tortoise Morning. Layman Pang, ancient Chinese poet, said, "Even the poorest thing shines." Today my identity will remain as nameless as the given name of the tortoise grubbing my garden. Its shell catches the sun, sends my eyes an orange, not quite any other orange. An orange Gauguin might have burnished as an idea of beauty. It holds a piece of lettuce in its mouth like a geisha fan and chews slowly, fanning the zinnias, the little kabuki. Maple leaves drip from last night's storm. A type of silence one can hear, like snowfall in a forest, silence that makes you aware of the silence that is. Even the crow perched on the fence post whispers to the mustang something about the way the pasture smells after rain, a word that can only be spoken in crow. Perhaps being nameless sharpens the senses when the sun rainbows blades of grass and morning's an infant too young to speak. Those were all poems from the cards. And now I have poems read from my newest book, The Headless Angel. Hello, sister. Bless you. The truest myth. My mother once told me the cord behind my navel is still connected to forest loam, to sea depths, to hilltop ponds found north to south by migrating birds, to the first willow green of late March, to the last maple leaf October refuses to release, until a storm is ordered to complete the cycle so the sun and its minions won't stop myriad motions of the darkest dust. So the apple that hit Newton's head won't rise back and connect, erasing all of our past, sending us east of Eden to wander the land of Nod, blanking our joys and the sorrows that made us love them. Sunday on the Ridge. The editor of a new book says no pet poems. But as I write, Mr. Doodoo, the black cat, sleeps beside my computer or peeks out the window as waxwings harvest a gnathatch in hedge shingle. His tail metronomes cluing me to rhythm, which doesn't always work. The conversational tone of Sunday on a Tennessee ridge tends more rustic than hymnal. Tractors instead of church pews. Call and response, towhee and coyote, or the neighbor's mongrels chasing squirrels. Yet light is always holy in November as black gum and maple leaves twirl to ground and broken clouds teach the pond surface new shapes. I almost expect a stranger named Jesus to walk across the water, pick up the puzzle pieces, and start over again. As if human hearts might change in late fall, as if the sky held answers and we might get it right this time. Before the solstice, it shortened days, and the pit in the stomach darkens, and breathing finally becomes a prayer. Table 9, another poem from my grandmother, excuse me. Oh, grandmother, while eating breakfast at Cracker Barrel, imagine my surprise to find your antique picture hanging in a grouping with a Coca-Cola sign, a stranger on a tractor, and a mule breaking sod. You taught me how to tightline fish on Cub Creek, to spit on my hands, to rub them in sand, to take an eel off a hook, to steal eggs beneath a hen, to suck on horehound to make it last. Which cousin betrayed you? Hawked the portrait at a yard sale, not knowing that you'd end up in a chain restaurant with an old-timer motif. The last time our eyes met, you were in intensive care in the Madison County Hospital, hooked up to machines, your jaw set against doctors who wouldn't let your heart stop so you could drift to your just reward. Now you hang above table 9 in the non-smoking section. Honored or condemned, I don't know, to gaze at 2 eggs over easy with hash browns. Rhonda will be your server now. The Headless Angel poem. My wife tried to glue the head back on, but it's concrete and keeps falling off. The cat tries to roll it around the porch floor. We bought it for the garden to honor our dead mothers, but when the head fell off, we couldn't. So it sits with the uneven chipped neck, kneeling with little hands folded in prayer, wings nestled on its back. I thought to bury her, but can't. My mother used to quote, "Angels from above watch over those we love." This morning I put the head on a garden brick so it can watch tulips bloom. I place a cap on it to shield eyes from the sun. I'm beginning to like this new version of Wing Victory. Tiny headless child. My wife painted its toenails bright red, its wings purple. Calvin said, every one of us has thousands of angels attending, but give me this little concrete beauty, her head among flowers, her squat form, always in prayer. The scent of fresh baked bread. Mauve and gray clouds layer a western sky, signaling an April night. Mockingbirds and towhees share mating songs, and American toads blur their little pronouncements into the soft lawn. An evening stretches its arms to yawn. Porch and barn lights begin to shimmer the ridge in an unplanned order. Fresh bread scents drift from loaves cooling on the neighbor's deck. My mother's baking day was Friday. Kids on St. John Avenue gathered behind our house to fight over the loaf she buttered to savor before supper. How a scent carries me a world away, softens my old man's shoulders, garden sore. The decay of years, like forest loam, breaks down memory. Leaves and wood create rich fiction of a life, perhaps covered with soft moss and lichen. Childhood faces, first loves, deaths, prepare the soul for mystery, a darkness beyond one's conscious scope. Tonight, a moon, then clouds, a soft rain, and years. Church of Childhood. As a child, each morning was a letter I could open, a closet with a t-shirt, a drawer with darn socks, a cold-nosed dog named Josephus racing cars. Sky, a church, earth, an altar, and I wrote every sermon after communion with oatmeal. In a maple-sheltered yard, the dog bowed his head and licked himself. The garden hose sprayed holy water. My sister and I christened each other, my underpants soggy, my railroad cap befuddled. We clammed in magnolia to sing I'll Fly Away, loaded cat pistols to play Onward Christian Soldiers. After Sunday school, we choked a Coke with peanuts, the holiest of Sabbath rituals. During communion and preaching, we sat like statues on the family pew and tried not to laugh when Aunt Mattie's stomach growled. We swallowed the flesh, wiped the blood of Jesus on our shirt sleeves, drew pictures in the church bulletin, and knew that we had sinned. Morning instructions. Drive off of Ridgetop down the curvy rope of Tenon Hollow. Level on a creek road, open to cedar wind-tossed. Put your tongue to the roof of your mouth. Say sacred. Not die, go to heaven sacred, but one more morning song in the reverence of solitude. Say the word cynical, roll down your window and spit. Watch a small flock of waxwings eat juniper berries. Listen to them whisper to each other as they feed. Say earth, feel your tongue click your TH with the th. Say dirt, water, air, and sunlight are God. Whisper creek burble, bubby, mama, papa. Feel your lips nurse the words. Now hollow the white arms of sycamore as they caress the sky. A sharp-shinned hawk will be waiting. Morning instructions. I just read morning instructions. Okay. Sleep. It's a quote by Robert Herrick, English poet. Fall gently and keep him in the civil wilderness of sleep. A friend's death brings back a game of hide and seek when we were children. Backyard lilies and giant oaks. Wind and leaves, a wave sweeping a beach, a distant sail on a tall ship, an attic fan in my first home pulling fresh air through each room, a light opening a cloud seam in the winter sky where two snowflakes danced down to find the window. Somewhere in the heart's dictionary, a word is misspelled. A preposition forgets its object. An action verb is served with cream. In the closet's heart valve, a clot dissolves. An artery widens to accept a sister's idea of faith. Belief sneezes, and the red fringe of a universe is born. My mother. Overheard outside a boy's bedroom. Oh, that's the next one. Okay, my mother. On the little street of my birth, my mother traced children's handprints pressed in dirt, named them Barbara, Linda Jo, Donnie. She spied a feather, named it mockingbird, waxwing, or finch, folded it in tissue, and placed it in her pocket. The sky often found her staring at trees, as if their murmur in wind was other than leaves, and the way she lingered to listen followed a sorrow of air. She smoothed tables, collars, sleeves with hands, caressing, blessing the clothes we wore, surfaces we shared at breakfast. As long as she lived, there were candlesticks, morning windows, and late-night creaks on the stairs. Feathers began to appear in hats, in windows open to breeze, in gardens beside her favorite roses. Doctor cracked her chest, spread her ribs, cleared her heart. She lived 2 years, and when she died, a sorrow of air, a murmur of trees, of birds. Good night, shadows. This is the last poem in The Headless Angel. And a friend of mine in Virginia who teaches at the university I was teaching at for a while as writer-in-residence, Carl, he has a son that has some mental issues. And one day he told me that his son said, he was standing outside the boy room's bedroom, and his son said, Good night, shadows. Good night, shadows. How long will I tell shadows good night? Brian, our shadows live with us as long as we live. Sometimes leaping forward, sometimes trailing behind, and other times standing even, depending on the sun's direction to our spinning. Sometimes ours is overshadowed by maple, house, or father. Yet who would not want this absence of light exacting our shape as we follow our paths? But if you're talking to shadows that creep your bed at night, think of them as the ones you create when you miss your own. And artful as herons drifting a lake, woeful as buzzards circling a country road, or oak limbs surveying the earth, think of your shadow as a life study in the sun. I've been working on a new project lately, and I thought I'd share some of them with you. What I'm doing is basically reading friends' poems, okay? And then I take a quote from it that I really like, and then I'm jumping off that quote into my own poem for their sake. And I have 80 new poems that have done this. This is one from a Sandy Coomer poem. Sandy, and all of them are called After Reading, and the book will be called After Reading. So the title is After Reading Available Light by Sandy Coomer. She says, things I want are simple too. A fingerprint on the window of understanding, a thread of faith. A heartbeat that doesn't start in my temple. A breath of air deep in my lungs. My fingers shaped by descendants of family, formed new and spry. My calloused heels moon-shaped and smooth. My navel remembering my mother, warmth inside another body. Your chin resting on a pillow beside me. Night, a prayer whispered by wind and maples. A hilltop pond dancing the moon. Whippoorwill, towhee echo, wood thrush harmonious. After reading Hunkering Down by Jane Hicks, she's a northeastern Tennessee poet, wonderful, wonderful writer. She says, my bones cannot forget clouded places of misty days and wind-spirited nights. Isn't that lovely? Winter coming, first morning in the 30s, my bones hold me together, cage my heart and lungs. Still, they often seem hollow when wind and a dance of fall leaves whisper secret prayers to a force too grand for my little soul. It trails the years behind. What bones know? Fingers digiting the maple kitchen table just to fill the scars that make it our own. How leaves palm a night window, offer a seance of sorts. What mystery the future holds for tomorrows to come. A barn owl speaks its flight song along the forest edge. My rib bones feel my breath hold for seconds as I imagine its wings moving through oak and maple to a light on a sycamore branch above Sulphur Creek. Everything has an ending. The owl's flight, coming winter, even this poem, these bones. C. Ann Codra is a poet who teaches in East Tennessee. And she said, after reading Homemade Coffin, I said, after reading Homemade Coffin by C. Ann Codra, I need no gold to bind me with its weight. I'll make my journey weightless from this land. If I were light enough to walk on water like a Savior, like a water strider, if I could float in air like an angel, or a buzzard rarely flapping a wing, if I could hang upside down like a nuthatch, I could leave this earth where time is based on particle decay, on night and day, when the sun, our little star, peaks in the east, glinting the tops of trees still shuttered by night, and one cloud edged with orange in the breeze. My spirit, that cartoon bubble over Pooh's head, could drift gravityless through this weighted gift I have carried with prayer, sometimes joy, often in blue heron dreams. One more I'll share with you. And then a few more other poems from my book. Do any of you know the poet from Lookout Mountain who used to be in Chattanooga, K.B. Ballantyne? She's remarkable. And in her last book, she writes, "My heart lingers an empty field. October, some feels empty. Harvest, a religious experience in rural Tennessee. Heart swell or heartbreak, rain or lack of. How landscape shapes the soul, always present. How deer, crows, groundhogs, and doves harvest after harvest. How the beginning of fall splinters something inside with its glory. Night comes earlier, and a question mark sit in the spine like an upside-down hook. Jesus, Buddha, Ganesh, Rumi, why does purpose fumble when autumn night comes, when first frost turns maple and sweet gum red? The creative spirit of the universe houses billions of stars. The word Lord stayed on my mother's tongue from first morning to lights out evening. Behind my navel, where I was placenta fed in a female pouch, a praise resides. My heart lingers an empty field." Wonder. This morning, wonder swims the sky like crows jostling each other in flight, or a child's breath clouding a window, a puppy licking leftover milk from a cereal bowl, a curmudgeon's lip filled with snuff, her daydream a girl holding her father's calloused hand. Maybe a pickup on a gravel road with a beagle hound licking air out the passenger window, or a girl trying on her sister's lipstick in the bathroom mirror, or a boy running a touchdown in the front yard alone, two bearded goats standing on a shed, a sea turtle living its 150th year, a white oak cathedral filled with starlings, your dreaming hand reaching out for something I can't see. This is a strange poem. It's called County Braille, but I was arguing with a friend who's dead in a dream, and I woke up and wrote this poem. Tree shadows, cottonwood, ash, sycamore, reach like God's fingers to read the braille of a scarred county road. Psalm of cicada chirr, swallowtail wings, and crumpled beer cans. A string of cars circles the cemetery like a wagon train, reminding me of an argument I dreamed with a dead friend. I awoke feeling absurd, like the day I called my mother for a recipe 2 months after her death. How many eggs for squash casserole? Then grief came back, smothered me, facing darkness inside with new eyes, like waking in the morning to a night window. Yet my mother would laugh at my idiocy, tell me 2 eggs and don't forget the cheese. My friend would slap me on the back. I'm dead, he'd say. The argument's over. You win. Okay. I'm going to close the reading with a sonnet from my grandmother. It's called The Hollow Step. The hollow step up the cabin porch gave a plunk. Creak of knotty pine led to an open door like scripture. Grand Sally's face, kitchen stove red, her stern smile sunk, wrinkle lines into her neck, her apron self a gesture, to sit at the oak table for steaming eggs and ham. Her eyes held stories you prepared yourself to hear. Come this away, Sadie, howled a panther. Sound of grieving barge at night on the Tennessee River. As it chugged by Lady's Bluff, her scattered bones imaged on the rocky shore. Mother of pearl sheen from mussel shells, an eerie ghost as the moon shone rivulets of current streaming north. Morning dreams wake me to Sally's keening voice. Dead these years, the hollow step, a door that led to Scripture. Thank you so much.